everyone, James Hagglund here, and welcome to another episode of Who Are They? I'm here with Dylan Johnson with Amor Roofing, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, how's it going?
Wonderful. How are you?
Oh, I'm pretty good. It's rain and sun and rain and sun, right?
It's the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, yeah. So what city are you coming out of?
I live in Lake Stevens.
How long you been in Lake Stevens?
Let's see. I grew up in Monroe. So my wife and I moved here about 8 years ago.
Okay. What do you guys like to do in the area?
Oh, well, let's see. We have two kids. So
Mm-hmm.
so kids' birthday parties is a big one. We spend a lot of time at parks and the jumpy places. Other than that, not a whole lot.
Altitude and
Yeah,
stuff
there's
like
one
that.
in Marysville. They have one. There's a couple in Everett, one in Monroe.
What about places to eat?
Oh, so depends. If it's like a date night, me and my wife, we just started going to this place we love in Snohomish, Double Barrel. It's a
Okay.
wine bar. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, we love that for date nights. Family nights depends on what we're in the mood for, but Mod Pizza is always a favorite. Bruno's here in Lake Stevens. We love going there.
Okay. Amor Roofing, how long have you been doing that?
Well, we just launched last week, so
Okay.
we've been prepping the launch for maybe about 6 weeks.
So you're basically servicing the area of Snohomish County, and
Snohomish County, King County, Skagit County.
what'd you do before that?
So I've done quite a few things.
Okay.
I started roofing as a teenager. Both my dad and uncle were roofers. So 14, 15, I would go on a few jobs with them here and there. But after high school, uh, I joined the military. I spent 5 years as a Navy corpsman, and after that I went to school. I got a degree in mathematics, and after that I've done quite a few things. I've worked in biotech, project management, data analytics, statistics, and my last job was as a software engineer. And I just left Microsoft to start this company.
What made you transition from tech to roofing?
There's a lot of things. I mean, obviously, it's always been a family thing, so it's always been there in the periphery. But I know a lot of people who start companies like this, and they all have a very similar story, which is, basically they have a terrible experience with a contractor, and they realize how common it is to have a terrible experience with a contractor. They don't answer their phones, they do shoddy work, they overcharge, uh, all kinds of different things. So there's that a little bit, uh, but most of it, because most of my family is in the trades in one form or another. I see it from more of an employee perspective. It's obvious to most people what happens when a customer interacts with a bad contractor, but they don't really see it from the employee side, because employees get it even worse than the customers sometimes. So I've seen plenty of contractors that they just underpay their employees, or they have their employees work and then they don't pay, or instead of going out and finding more work, they drinking, drugs, whatever, or they just they have enough work to feed themselves, so they just decide not to go out and get more, and that leaves them without work, so they go months without pay, and it really makes it hard for people who want to get into the trades. And so that's one of my main reasons for starting this company, is I think I can really do a lot of service, not just for customers, but for employees. So people
Hmm.
who can come on and work for Amor Roofing can have a really solid future.
Kind of, do you read books, podcasts, or anything like that?
Oh, yeah, well, I read books, mostly to my daughter. We've been going through the Harry Potter series. I think
Okay.
we just started the sixth one.
And then growing up, who influenced you?
Well, there's quite a few people, I think, that would do that. But you know, one of the main reasons I started this company is I saw some other people who left lucrative careers and started, just a small business as a contractor, one trade or another, and actually ran it successfully, and how big of an impact that had, not just on themselves because they were able to do well, but everyone who worked for them was also able to do phenomenal. I mean, they made double, triple the amount of money they're used to making. Uh, People were able to start buying their first homes who were working for them, and that just seemed. I felt like I could do a lot more. Watching their example, I felt like I could do a lot more good starting a company like this than I could, writing software for Microsoft. There's a couple of, sort of major macro trends that are important to understand when thinking about getting a new roof. And these trends are really pushing both manufacturing of materials and the installation of by contractors in a direction of just poor quality. And one of those is the realization by insurance companies and manufacturers that the average roof doesn't stay on a home beyond an average of 7 years. And this is typically because in the Pacific Northwest we wouldn't really think about this, but the majority of the country gets in the Midwest and Florida and on the coast gets massive storms, hailstorms, hurricanes, tornadoes, and so because of this, roofs get destroyed and end up getting purchased by insurance companies within 5 to 7 years. So this has really pushed manufacturers to realize that the quality of their material just doesn't matter. If it lasts 10 years, then it lasts longer than it needs to last.
Mm-hmm.
And even out somewhere like the Pacific Northwest, the average homeowner leaves their home within 5 years. So the average person who puts on a new roof is only going to be in their home for a couple of years. So quality to them, is not a major factor. Installers have noticed this too. Installers have noticed that the quality of their work doesn't so much matter because the types of leaks that are going to happen from shoddy workmanship might take 5, 10 plus years to be noticed. And most homeowners are not in their house anymore. So the warranties that they give are really just marketing gimmicks because they know that 99% of people aren't going to be around to make a claim. So this really puts people who want a quality roof in a bad spot because you don't know if that manufacturer is actually giving you a quality material or if it's just a marketing gimmick. You don't know if that installer is actually going to do everything that they should do, or if they're just going to hide some small issues to save money and know full well that whoever has to deal with that issue won't be around to call them. We've really tried to, partner with certain manufacturers that have tried to buck that trend and service the people who really want to stay in their homes for a little bit longer, get an actual quality roof. And then another thing that's important to realize about the, roofing contractors is that pretty much all roofing contractors know enough about roofing to put on a quality roof. It does take skill, it does take knowledge, and it takes time to learn it. But pretty much all of the roofing companies out there have met that bar. I don't think I've seen a single company where the installers just didn't know what they were doing. So when we come across problems on the roof, it's usually not because they didn't know what they were doing. It's because they just didn't care. So they just knew full well that it didn't matter. The homeowner's not going to get on that roof to go inspect. And even if they do, the likelihood that they know what they're looking for is almost zero. And most of the issues can be hidden. You have to lift up shingles and tear them apart to see how badly it was installed. You really have to find a company that you can trust to do it right, because doing it right is physically more demanding, it takes more time, and it's more expensive. Even if the company has a good reputation, how they treat their employees matters a lot, because a disgruntled employee up there will do shoddy work and then just hide it.
So, but you go back to that timeline of a roof only lasts for so long. Then there's this warranty. Well, the person that initially purchased that roof is moving out prior to that warranty, and that doesn't get transferred, does it?
Sometimes it does, but the likelihood that they're going to remember is almost zero.
Like, yeah, not a lot of people save paperwork that long.
No, they don't. And I've spoken to a few different lawyers about this, and they pretty much tell me that after a certain amount of time, a warranty from a roofing contractor is very easy to sidestep. I could probably give a 50-year warranty, and it would be the same as a 5 or 10-year functionally. So anything over 10, maybe 15 is really more of a marketing gimmick than it is an actual warranty.
What do you recommend somebody to keep an eye out for their roof so that they can contact you?
I would definitely gauge it by the age of the roof. If you don't know the age, you can kind of infer it. When was your house built? If it's 20 years ago, then your roof is, if it's not new, it's 20 years old. But you can look to see, I would look at It's hard to show without pictures, but you want to see if you have a lot of dark black spots to
Hmm.
show that the granules on that roofing material are falling off. If you see a lot of waviness, if you see a lot of buckling in your roof, you can look at it. It'll look like it's wavy. It'll indicate
Hmm.
that maybe some moisture is getting into that plywood.
What's your feeling about pressure washing a roof?
There's definitely a difference between pressure washing and soft washing. I definitely wouldn't use a pressure washer on a roof, but you can do a soft wash, which is a light spray, usually with like a light bleach mixture or some
Hmm.
type of chemical mixture to get rid of the moss. But you definitely don't want to force it off with a pressure washer. You're going to damage those shingles, especially if you go up and under the shingle.
Hmm.
Uh, so a lot of people don't realize that shingles for your roof are not waterproof. They're just water shedding. So they're designed to shed water down.
Okay.
So if you shoot water up underneath it, that water's gonna go right into those shingles and into your roof.
As far as like treatment for roof, like moss treatment, is there something that you recommend
Yeah,
or?
the powder stuff you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's typically works really well. They have some organic stuff if you're concerned about chemicals. We typically recommend that somebody get their roof inspected and cleaned once a year. Uh,
Hmm.
if you get a lot more moss, maybe you do that more often. If your roof is really new, then maybe you probably do it less often. If your roof is really old, it's probably good to call and just get an inspection and a roof tune up. Roof tune up's a service we offer, and then we can tell you, how much life is left in your roof.
Well, thanks, Dylan. I appreciate your time and getting to
Yeah,
know
thank
you a little
you.
bit and about your company. And we'll have your contact information in the description below. And if you have any questions, contact Dylan and for all your roofing needs. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.